And now, part 2 of the first Tear Ball previews. The CFP semifinal games with Sean Devine, Gabe, Griffin, and Kyle Golik.
VRBO Fiesta Bowl, CFP semifinal, Saturday, December 31st, 4 p.m. Eastern kick. Number 3 TCU versus number 2 Michigan.
I think Kyle should start. I mean, he's our Big Ten guy, and he knows Michigan better than anybody else.
So when you look at Michigan, you got two big strikes against them right now. First off,
offense.
Well, Blake Corum underwent season-ending knee surgery. And, look, I think Donnie Edwards is the backup. I always mess his name up. Hopefully I'm right on this.
Donovan Edwards, I think, right?
Well, he's a special back. The depth beyond that is very shaky at best.
I agree.
And then when you look at the defensive line, Dazzy Smith was arrested for felony gun charges, but still played in the Big Ten title game.
Talk to Michigan State people about that.
Well,
Michigan State people are very unhappy about that.
So if that continues to flare up, he may be out of the college football semi-playoff just because of public outcry. I'm not sold on J.J. McCarthy. People seem to be enamored with him. To me, he's just a game manager.
J.J. McCarthy, if not Blake Corum, should be at the Heisman ceremony.
Oh my God, that made my head scratch there because I beat up on McCarthy a lot, and there's absolute good reason to pull him up.
He's a better game manager than Gabe McNamara, though.
He is. I mean, when you look at it,
yeah, of course.
I mean, when you say he's a game manager, I mean, at least he's a step up from McNamara, though.
Yeah, but that's not
everyone knows the ultimate game manager in football history is Kyle Orton. So there's that.
Well,
by the way,
it's like this. It's like this with the gap between Cade McNamara and JJ McCarthy. It's like if Cade McNamara was the bar slut, and you in the known bar slut, and you decide to sleep with the bar slut's friend that no one knows, is it actually that much better? When you look at Cade McNamara,
well, if you don't know, then it's okay.
But you look at,
but nobody knows her name, and she's the nerd that hangs out at the library. It doesn't count.
So when you look at, and I hate to be.
And by the way, there's a reason that Cade McNamara is going to Iowa. By the way, again, a team that doesn't like to throw the football.
Absolutely, and you look at what McCarthy did in the month of November. Extremely pedestrian, 50% passing. Grants you 7 touchdowns, no picks in 4 games that were against Rutgers, Nebraska, Illinois, and the game. So you can
don't shit on Illinois. I won't stand for it.
Yeah, I'm not.
You go ahead. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
But it's not like
it's like saying you threw for 4 touchdowns against Auburn, and it's like
he threw for no touchdowns against Illinois.
I'm kidding, Gabe.
Yeah, he had no touchdowns against Illinois.
Well, I think Singleton had 3 or 4 touchdowns against Auburn, so
But right. You look at the Big Ten title game. Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns in that game.
Purdue.
It was Purdue. Let's.
Purdue do. They do.
Let's take out those four of those games. Let's look at the Ohio State game. He was 12 of 24 for 263, 3 touchdowns. Passing, and then he had a rushing touchdown.
But didn't Donovan Edwards have 3 70-yard touchdowns? So it didn't really matter.
Yeah, they were again. A lot of it were broken plays. He had so one of McCarthy's long passes of the day was for 75 in that game. So when you look at the yards per completion, it's not impressive. It's not like JJ McCarthy's going to beat you. No, what it is
what they need to do, they need to motivate JJ McCarthy beat them. That is their key to success. And I just don't know if TCU.
Can I ask you guys a quick question? Can I ask you both of you a quick question? And I love this phrase, and I'm stealing it from. I'm a Barstool guy, and I think both you guys are Barstool guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
What Big Cat says: is he a dog? Does he have that dog in him?
I don't think.
Who's got more dog? Who's got more dog in him? JJ McCarthy or our guy at TCU? Help me out. I'm totally Max Duggan. I'm totally I just totally got a mind blank.
Oh, it's no doubt.
Yeah, who's got more dog in him? JJ McCarthy or Max Duggan? I think is the difference in this game.
I want to pick TCU, but I just don't know if they can match up physically with.
I think TCU can.
It's that depth.
When you look at TCU, I look at the key offensive guys that they have, and it's like they're balanced. They can run the football, and they can chuck it with Duggan. They have, in my mind, the best wide receiver in college football, in Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnson is he's a dog. That dude is a dog.
Kendre Miller, who is an exceptional running back. So and they have a guy named Amari DiMercado, who's who spells them from time to time, who averages 5 yards a carry. So you're not getting a breather whether Miller or DiMercado's in the game. Now you look on the vertical game, Duggan has guys like Quentin Johnston, Tay Barber, Darius Davis, Jared Wiley. He's going to find ways to make this happen. And to me, the thing that worries me about TCU is they tend to try to look for the explosion. And can they play patient enough against a Michigan team to say, hey, instead of maybe trying to drop a dime on Quentin Johnston or Tay Barber, or if Kendre Miller can't break a big one, can they take those modest gains and stack a drive? Because I don't think the Michigan defense is not going to give up a lot of big plays, something that TCU feasted on this year.
Yeah, that's really the only game that Michigan has really been explosive, right? Was the Ohio State
game was the Ohio State and Penn State, which is they're undoubtedly their two best games. But then they laid
here's the thing with the Penn State game. They fell 12 yards short rushing of rushing a quarter mile against Penn State. So I don't know if that's explosive enough.
I think this game's going down to the wire. I think anybody that thinks TCU doesn't belong in this game is foolhardy.
Doesn't know how to walk on a leash.
I think the loss against Kansas,
I think Sonny Dykes is a better motivator of men than Harbaugh is.
Harbaugh's going to pick his nose and then put the booger on
no, I will go there. I think Sonny Dykes is a better motivator of men. Harbaugh is a motivator of men. Don't get me wrong; he does a good job. But I think Sonny Dykes has this group of men at Fort Worth at TCU, which is you shouldn't be there. You don't belong here. You're TCU. You're a school of 12,000 total students. You're playing Michigan, which is what is the Kyle, the Big Ten better than I do. What is Michigan?
A lot.
It's like 45,000 students, is it not?
50.
Or maybe over 50,000 students. So TCU, you have no business being here. You shouldn't be here. Well,
but
maybe I'm a little fucked up. Maybe I'm stupid. But the last time TCU played in the New Year's Six game against the Big Ten team was against Wisconsin.
Yep.
They played Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl, and they beat them.
Well, here's my thing, and the reason I don't want to go at Harbaugh or Dykes and say this coach is better or this coach is better. I think both coaches in this game are about as equal as you can get. I don't think there's a coaching edge or a motivation edge. I think it's Sonny Dykes. This is really, when you look at his career and all the stops he's been, whether it's been Louisiana Tech, Cal, SMU, that he's had a complete team. He's had as much good offensive weapons as he's had defensive. A testament to what Gary Patterson had left him. He got terminated or resigned or whatever happened with him at TCU. The cupboard wasn't empty for him, and that's evident by this run this season, because Sonny Dykes has always had to go into programs that have been at the bottom of the barrel and then have to build them up and get them built up to a point where then he's jumping to the next job. This is his first real complete team. So, I'm really curious what he does. And I think for TCU, losing the game against Kansas State, I think it takes a lot of the pressure off of them, because when you got that 0 in front of you, you're not looking for that first L. Now you have that L and you're in a playoff. Now nothing else matters. Now it's just you got to go 1-0 to get to the final. And to me, they're in a situation where, look, they had their rock bottom moment against Kansas State. They know what they need to fix, and they're really going against a wounded Michigan team. So
how does the front versus of TCU face versus Michigan?
I like
because in that Kansas State game they couldn't get that 1 yard. Can they get that 1 yard versus Michigan? That's going to be.
I think they can. I think offensively they can. What worries me with TCU is their defensive line going against the Joe Moore award-winning unit of Michigan. That's they're big dogs there, and that's, I think, where Michigan can feast. If they can dictate long, sustained drives and get a few key stops from the defense, they can put TCU in a position where they're behind the 8 ball and they have to become one-dimensional, and you can't overcome a one-dimensional approach against Michigan, because if you got to pass it every down, they got enough in their 2D. Even if Mazzie Smith doesn't play for Michigan, they got enough in a rotation to make things very complicated for TCU.
No, I'm excited for this game. I think for TCU to be successful in this game, and he's supposed, again, we talk about, these guys like me and Kyle a little bit, and Gabe not as much, because Gabe's more of a college guy. But we talk about guys that have, and I haven't seen Quentin Johnson. He didn't opt out, which he could have, but he's got a first round billet. In fact, a top 10 billet, is probably the best wide receiver in the country. And, despite what, the Biletnikoff Award says, and all these awards say, which are, kind of a shit show. But
I shit less about the awards nowadays.
It's a ESPN Disney kind of,
it's the SEC award show.
It's an SEC award show, a back pat. You did good this year. But Quentin Johnson, if he's going to be truly a number 1 pick, top 10 pick, he has to be big. And as good as Michigan's secondary has played, he's going to have to be huge for TCU. He's going to have to make plays. He's going to have to get first downs. TCU, really the thing I need to see them do in this game, if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to sustain. Well, I'd love to see them control it, but they're going to need really the overarching sustained drives. Yeah. When it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, TCU needs to convert first downs. You need to convert
That's
first
hard
downs.
To do. That is extremely hard to do against Michigan.
3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 against Michigan.
You can't be behind.
It's extraordinarily hard to do.
But Matt,
Yeah, that's where teams falter
you're not
against
gonna get those
Michigan this
first
year.
downs against Michigan. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. You're going to convert maybe 2 out of 10 on those. You're going to be batting 20%. You can't.
So if they go 35%, then they have a chance to win this football game, is what you're saying.
Well, I don't think they can be successful in that situation. They have to stay on schedule. They need to be. They're going to be on third down.
Then he made that 3rd and 7 to about 3rd and 4 at worst.
Right, but if they can convert on 3rd and 7, if TCU can convert on 3rd and 7, this bodes well for them. If they're habitually stuck in 3rd and 7 or longer, and they don't convert, then Michigan probably wins this game, is what you're saying.
I don't think that. I think if Michigan gets TCU into 3rd and long situations, this is going to be what will give Michigan more success than anything.
Does TCU need to have a bigger time of possession than Michigan to win this game?
Not necessarily. I think they can play a little bit even. So here's the rub, Sean. Michigan has given up this season. Their third down conversions, teams have only converted 32% on overall third downs. Anything that's 3rd and long, which is 10 yards or longer, they've only converted on 17% of those. So you don't want to be in that 3rd and 8, 9, 10 range, because it's just you're falling right into Michigan's hands here. Michigan is was the number 3 overall in the country in total defense. They give up 85 yards a game on the ground, which is 3rd in the country. They give up only 190 yards in the air. This is a suffocating defense. Now, grant you, those stats mean something, but keep in mind, look at their schedule. They had a joke of an out of conference schedule, and really their only 2 big games all year: Penn State and Ohio State, and they won pretty convincingly in both those games. So there's a little bit of kernel of truth with those stats. In my opinion, if TCU is going to win this game, offensively, they have to remain on schedule. They got to have sustained drives. If they hit the big play, they got to hit it. They can't miss it. So if Duggan finds a Quentin Johnson or a Tay Barber open or streaking, you better hit them, because you may not get another option in that game.
I completely agree. So I think we all agree. So for TCU to win this game, they have to play a perfect game to Michigan's average or a little bit better than average game, correct?
I think it comes down to how well the Michigan offense is, because if J.J. McCarthy is inept and it becomes a one-dimensional game, to me it rises the TCU ability to win this game, even with such a suffocating defense.
So,
they play clean.
Kyle, hold on. Okay. So, like, what most people are expecting in this game, and why most people are picking Michigan in this game,
because Michigan's going to control the game.
They're going to control the line of scrimmage and run the rock in this game.
Top 10 ground game.
Yeah, they're going to pound and ground. I don't care who. Like, listen, you're almost, what do you have, 6 months younger than me?
Roughly.
So you've watched Michigan as long as I have. Michigan runs the rock. That's what they do.
I mean,
they've always run the rock. This goes all the way back to when I watched Ricky Powers run the ball, or Tim Biakabatuka, or Tyrone Wheatley.
We've watched those, but here's
watched for years.
Here's the rub.
So here's the deal. Here's the rub on this game. This is an easy peasy lemon squeezy answer for anybody that wants to know about Michigan football. Wants to know, TCU wins this game if they can stop. I don't really give a shit if who's the running back that's injured for Michigan.
Blake Corum.
Blake Corum. Don't really care. It could be John Smith. I don't care. Michigan usually has like 8 running backs. They all got different names.
Not this year.
Donovan Edwards is a special back.
Not this year.
They could be. They don't need to be. They don't need to be Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey when you're Michigan.
It's a noticeable drop off.
It's about the line. It's about the offensive lineman. And Michigan did win. The best offensive line award, the Joe Moore Award, and they do have the best offensive line in the country. I'll give them that. So, period. The point is for TCU, if they're going to win this football game, they need to stop Michigan from running the football. They need to put the game on J.J. McCarthy's hands. And TCU has a decent enough defensive backfield where I think they can stop that. Where I don't think they can stop that is with their defensive line. I don't think they can stop that. So, unfortunately, as biased as I am, Notre Dame guy who hates Michigan, I like Michigan in this game. I think they win it. I actually think they win it I think they win it by about 20 points.
Yeah. Run it up from Michigan.
Yeah, I just don't think TCU's and I love TCU. I'm a big TCU guy.
I'd love to
want to see him win this game.
Big 12 this year. Big 12 was the most fascinating. Big 12 Pac-12 was the most fascinating conference this year by far.
Oh, TCU and the Big 12 were the most fun, most competitive conference this year. Despite what SEC man says, the Big 12 was the best conference, it's most fun to watch. Pac-12 was right there as well. They got 6 teams that are ranked, in the top 25. But week in and week out, Big 12 was the most fun. That was the most fun conference to watch.
So for me in this game, TCU has one of the best balanced offenses that Michigan will see all year. They're in a top 25 in rushing.
Shit, Kyle, it should be because they didn't play anybody non-conference. Look at Michigan's non-conference schedule. Come on, let's not let them escape that. Come on.
They still play.
Come on, fucking play somebody, Ann Arbor. I mean, that's a joke. You didn't play anybody.
Well, I'm talking about TCU here.
Not TCU. We're talking about Michigan. They didn't play anybody.
Well, no, what I said was for TCU to win the game, they have to rely on their balanced offense. And that's what I got.
I know. I'm just shitting on Michigan. Give me a break.
So again, it's a balanced offense. And it's really, that's the strengths of the game is what does TCU's offense do against Michigan's defense? And that's really what it's all going to come down to. If TCU can stay on schedule and if they can have the drives and force the ball out of the running back's hands into J.J. McCarthy's hands, they will win the game. For Michigan to win, it has to just establish its will physically on the offensive line. Donnie Edwards, with Donnie Edwards is going to be the star tailback in this game. C.J. Stokes has seen some action. Isaiah Gash you'll probably see some touches in the backfield. So that's going to be where Michigan is. Everything Michigan's success predicates off of that running game. If the Joe Moore line shows up and does it, and that's great. What doesn't help TCU here is the fact that, hey, they're 74th overall in total defense, and they're 65th against the run. In my mind, what will happen in this game is I think TCU will keep it interesting into the fourth quarter. I think Michigan comes away with a win late, but this is going to be one of those games where TCU won't go away easily for the Wolverines.
Well, I sure so hope you're right.
Okay, so everybody.
I want to be wrong. I hope Gabe wins the fucking pick'em. I hope he wins the pick'em. I hope I'm wrong. I took Michigan in this game for big point. But would I love to see our favorite shirtless sleepover booger picking, idiot lose this game? I mean, come on. You guys know me. I mean, I'm not a Jim Harbaugh fan. I want nothing but the worst for him. So obviously the heart is with TCU. I love TCU. I love all things about, and Kyle and I, we talked about, Dutchess and all the great things about Fort Worth and that great campus, that great university. So obviously the heart is with TCU.
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, CFP semifinal, Saturday, December 31st, 8 p.m. Eastern kick. Number 4 Ohio State versus number 1 Georgia.
Before and then he's just popped in. So before we shit on either of these teams, because I know the SEC man wants to shit on Ohio State in a very worst way. Both these teams are in the top 11 in both total offense and total defense. So this is a heavyweight battle, in my opinion.
I'm actually Ohio State is actually my second favorite team, so I actually want Ohio State to win. Although we have zero chance at all in this game. It's just
I wouldn't say zero. I really wouldn't.
No.
Ryan Day he's not a tough kind of guy. Michigan just absolutely bored them yet again, and Harbaugh is making Ryan Day his bitch. And
Ohio State fans have been spoiled
that Michigan was creating in the second half, and that tells you pretty much how the Georgia game is going to go.
That's how you were earlier talking about Tennessee, how their fans are just like insufferable. That's the Ohio State fans. They've been under 2 decades of spoiled
greatness,
like completely spoiled. I mean, you look at the run they went on. I mean, I think the only other program that's been spoiled even worse is Alabama. And
all Alabama fans do. The only annoying thing that they really do is talk about the 18-ounce championships, and they just like all you gotta do is like, I don't give a shit, and then you walk away, and then they keep on saying it, but eventually gonna shut up.
Well, with Ohio State fans, they look at their unreal domination over Michigan and go, they've won literally 18 out of 20 against Michigan. Like rivalries have periods like that.
But what is Ohio State? I'm a Ohio State fan, but what have they really done in that 2-year span? Well, win the Big Ten 100 times and get 2 national championships. Like, okay, well, yeah, 2. But that's cool.
You asked Sean and I, we would love to go the last 2 years and be able to say, hey, we won conference titles, we won 2 national titles, we played for 3 or 4 more, went to the New Year's Six Bowl every single year. I would kill for that kind of track record.
Yeah, if Auburn beat Alabama 20 straight years, I would cry happiness every day of my life. Yeah, I have to clutch my pearls for 6 in a row. And the Alabama fan, I say, "Oh yeah, we beat y'all 10 in a row."
Yeah, so I don't think anything with Michigan has any bearing on Day. If anything, the fact that they have a potential shot for redemption, shot for redemption against Michigan.
I admit that I am.
But they're an awfully talented team to get another shot at this.
Yeah,
as an Ohio State fan, but are there going to be good games though? I don't think so. I think that this is going to be
Gabe, when have they been good games?
That's what I'm saying. This is
when have they been good games? This is not the NFL. This is college football. It's been
game is going to be the game of the year. I mean,
it hasn't been good ever.
No.
The playoffs haven't been good ever, and really, the games haven't been good since many years.
This is, to me,
they haven't been good since we split a national title between Georgia Tech and Colorado, and Doug knows what I'm talking about.
I do remember the year, yes.
Yeah, 1990.
And what I warn people,
Gabe was barely an inch in his dad's pants.
Yeah, I was still a seaman by then.
Yeah, what I warn people about with Ohio State coming in as a wounded underdog in some aspects is the last time they were in this role, they were in the college football playoff against Clemson and completely destroyed them.
Is massive.
You do not want a wounded Ohio State team giving a new shot at life come at you. And that's what Georgia has, because, this is a Georgia team.
But this isn't 2014.
No, I'm talking in 2020 when they went against Clemson in a college football semi.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got job in that game, by the way, by the officiating, if I recall correctly.
Well, no, that was the 49-28 demolition Ohio State did to Clemson in that game.
Oh, that was the one we came out right. Yeah, we got screwed the year before.
That was people that were already marginalized in Ohio State. Oh, you can't beat Clemson. You're third
they beat the shit out of them. They beat the shit out of the SEC, man. I know Clemson isn't in the SEC, but they should be. They're equally as important as being an SEC man. Particularly their coach, who continues to praise the Lord Jesus that protects his team. Whenever
this is what Georgia got to face this year. They're facing a team that everyone's castigating them as they don't belong.
If Ohio State had Smith and Njigba and could really throw the ball all over the place, I would give Ohio State a better chance. But it's just,
does Jackson Smith and Njigba mean anything for this? Even though he said he's hurt, he's rehabbing for the draft and not playing. Even if he played in this game, he hasn't played all year since the Notre Dame game.
But
what does that mean for the chemistry of the guys on the field when you look at Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison Jr., Julian Fleming? These guys have been on point for Ohio State this year.
Oh, absolutely.
When you look at the Buckeyes, this is a team that's built very much like Georgia.
If I'm Ryan Day, I put Marvin Harrison Jr. on Ringo all night. I tell Marvin Harrison to find that motherfucker and line up in front of him. I tell him to do that all night and just go all night.
That's why you wouldn't be coaching, because you don't look for the defender to go up against. You kind of get into your slot and then run your route. You're not going to go seek out Kelly Ringo.
But that's pretty much Georgia's weak spot right there. That's pretty much who everyone's been picking on all year, and it's kind of been that's your only success versus Georgia is Ringo.
Well, my thing with Ohio State is we're entering a game where you have you brought up, hey, they've lost back-to-back to Michigan. Trust me, that doesn't sit well, especially after this one. They had to hear about it, but they got this redemption, and they had a chance to have the nuclear winter for them. They can beat Georgia. So this is one of those games where it's there's a lot.
Michigan 2.0.
Yeah, this is if in my mind, and this is either going to make or break Ryan Day at Ohio State. And I hate to say that this game, and potentially if they do make it to the finals and say they do play Michigan, the next potential two games can make or break Ryan Day at Ohio State and really forever change that rivalry. But before they even think about the following week, they got to get to Georgia. And Georgia, they've been impressive all year. Jalen Carter looks like the next big thing, who could potentially be the top overall pick in the draft.
Yeah. Mean Joe kind of stuff right there.
The fact that he picked up an SEC title game, who's the LSU quarterback, and just literally just picked him up and held him there for like 20 seconds or whatever.
Oh, golly.
Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels. But I just don't like Ohio State's front versus Georgia's front. It's just Georgia's front is ungodly.
Ohio State has a great offensive line too. They're not trash by any stretch of the imagination.
They're not, but they're not tough.
What do you mean they're not tough?
They got Boyd versus Michigan in the second half.
So here's my thing, and this is what I have to remind in my Big Ten groups to the Ohio State contingent. They have one bad day, and they're all of a sudden pussies. They're soft. They can't. They're nobodies. They're horrible. You guys are overreacting. This is an Ohio State offensive line that literally blocked for an offense that finished top 10 in total offense, 200 yards rushing on the ground per game, nearly 300 passing in the air. What more can you ask for a group? This is a really good
If you're going to go against another Michigan 2.0, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think anything different is going to happen?
You don't know until it's put in front. You can't worry about Michigan 2-0 until you get past Georgia. And in my opinion, when you look at Georgia, you got a 30-year-old quarterback in Stetson Bennett, who I
do think. I mean, ultimately, I want Ohio State to win the game, but I think Georgia will win the game. I think they're more complete as a team.
The way I look at this game, Georgia is looking for a date of immortality, because if they win their next two games, they will
be back to back, and then they're going for 3 in a row. They're going for
they're gunning for that status at Alabama.
I mean, and they are despite what Alabama has been the gold standard for the last 12 years.
They would become the gold standard.
Yeah.
And if with two more wins. And Kirby Smart, who was left off AL.com's top 10 SEC coaches list after winning the title last year, would probably find a way onto that list on a redo. Georgia, I love what they do offensively. They're one of those teams that deceptively, and I say this deceptively, pass for almost 300 yards a game. I know I poked at Bennett, who's like 30 and still playing college football. He's like a 10-year vet. But one of the things that scare me about Georgia is their pass defense isn't exactly elite. They're 50th in the country. And you're going to go against Ohio State, who has a top 15 passing attack. They have the weapons I've mentioned earlier. You add Kate Stover in a tight end. And look, Mayan Williams will be ready to play in that game. Dallin Hayden will spell him, and he can catch the ball in the backfield too. They have 5 legit options to come off there. And CJ Stroud, who was seen as the right behind Bryce Young in all these Heisman talks in the preseason. Grant you, he didn't make it to New York this year, but there's talent there with them. So that's one of those things that Georgia got to be leery of. Is this is an Ohio State team that they also have their monster D lineman, JT Tuimaulau, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who completely embarrassed Penn State, literally made Sean Clifford his bitch. He's a monster
I'm more
too.
worried about
Jack Sawyer is another great edge rusher
than I am defensively. Because Georgia, they're very predictable, and all they're going to do is throw 2 screen passes, run the ball, and then they may toss the ball 5 yards out there. They have zero trust in their 34-year-old quarterback.
Well, Scrambling Fran back there is going to it's going to be interesting to see what Jim Knowles does with his defense. I thought Tommy Eichenberg got jobbed for Butkus nomination. You look at what he did this year, absolute monster. It's an interesting 4-2-5 that they're running out there at Ohio State. It's going to be interesting. Do they have the presence up front? Is this new scheme that they're employing when you're going against a very pro-style Georgia D offense? Do they have enough power and strength up front to force mistakes and whatnot? Because while Georgia has that proclivity of deceptively passing the ball and whatnot and stretching it, This is one of those times where is the 6 or 7 guys that you have in the box area there, are they talented enough to create issues? Because Georgia doesn't pressure you offensively through the air. They pressure you by what they do in the ground game and through space. Like in the short and intermediate games, as you were mentioning with screen passes to like the legendary Ladd McConkey. And as SEC fan, like to yell at Sean Devine about the Mackey Award winner Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of talent at the Ohio State skill position. I just think the game is on the line, and I think Georgia dominates the line of scrimmage. I think they win this game. I think it's closer than the experts predict, but I still like Georgia. They got a little bit of a team of destiny to them, and I don't like. Of course, I've been against Stetson Bennett. He's terrible. He's trash. But for whatever it is, they just. I think they get it done. Give me a Georgia by a field goal in this game.
For Ohio State to win, they're going to have to force the 80-year-old man to beat them, and you're going to have to force your front to control the line of scrimmage defensively. And does Ohio State have it in them to do that? Can they do this? Can they do what they did to Penn State to Georgia? And they can, but I don't see it.
They don't need to do what they did to Penn State to beat Georgia. They can.
Well, I'm saying control the line of scrimmage.
I think they have the abilities to do it. I think they're as talented as a team as Georgia. I do like Ohio State in this game because this is one of those times where you look at Ohio State. You don't want to give this team a second chance at all. And I look at Georgia's schedule, and I'm not trying to pick at it. I mean, they did embarrass Oregon, who was flirting with the college football playoff a little bit in Pac-12 championship.
But
and Tennessee was like, I'm like, I don't know. This isn't one of those. This isn't like classic '95 Nebraska or 2012 Alabama, where you just feel like they're leaps and bounds better than everyone. This is an Ohio State team that has. This is an Ohio State team that has a Heisman caliber quarterback. They have 2 good running backs, and I think Travion Henderson will be out. But if he does play in the game, that's 3 now. You look at their receivers; they have the best wide receiver room in the country. Cade Stovers is a he's no slouch at tight end, and I like the offensive line. I really think the question for Ohio State is with Knowles' defense. They're running a 4-2-5, and it's a lot of teams doing. Georgia does an eerily similar one. How do they adjust in space, and how do they go up against a who's Georgia's offensive coordinator? I can't remember.
Monken.
Yeah,
Todd Monken.
Yeah, Todd Monken.
It's Monken versus Knowles. That's really what it's going to come down to, and I think Ohio State has the athletes to make the key stops, because I really don't feel Georgia's been tested at all this year, and I think it's going to come back to bite them in this game. I think Ohio State's been pushed to the brink, and I think they're going to take advantage of it. I like Ohio State by 10 over Georgia.
I hope you're right.
I hope
how much I love Ohio State outside of my own Irish. But they're not physical enough at the point.
I don't have any love lost for the Bucs.
I know you don't like them, and I like them, but that's a weird part. You're rooting for, or well, not rooting, but you're picking.
I love Ohio State, but man, it's just.
And so are you.
That Michigan game.
Problem is, I always think about the physicality of Georgia. Georgia is very physical, both sides of the ball.
I just keep pointing out when you put Ohio State into this role, they always respond.
They do, but I don't think they respond in this one. They're not physical enough. They're not tough enough. If Urban Meyer was the coach, I would agree with you, Kyle. But Ryan Day is soft, and that softness trickles down. We talk about the trickle down effect.
That's what I was trying to explain to Kyle.
That trickle down effect of Ryan Day being soft impacts his team. They are soft. They're soft. They're not Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was tough. He embodied physicality and toughness. This Ohio State team is not tough. Kirby Smart is about toughness. I'm taking Georgia. Georgia wins the game by 10.
Gabe, have you picked on this game?
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia by 10.
Georgia by 10.
This is Dr. Balls, and you're listening to Smacking Off, the podcast.
Watch what you love for less with Roku. Follow our affiliate link at smackology.42web.io for the best deals on Roku and many other great products.
Listen to Smacking Off the podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Also check us out on the Podbean app, Player FM and Podchaser.
I have a feeling that Kyle's onto something as far as this team
I
getting.
hope he's right. I'd love to see.
I really don't give a shit who wins this game. I just feel like he's right that this team is a very dangerous team, and for them to get a second chance at this, it's going to be very interesting to see.
Here's the thing, guys. You guys both called them soft, and everyone's been calling them soft. And if you've played football in any sense of
you've been
hearing.
Fuck Kyle, you better fucking show it to me then. When have they showed it to me? Tell me what game they've showed me toughness.
I think they showed you toughness on Labor Day, Sean.
No, they didn't, because you beat a bad Notre Dame team who lost to Marshall. I'm not hearing that. No,
I mean
that was a soft Notre Dame team.
They beat it.
I'd say the same thing about the Notre Dame team they beat. That was a soft Notre Dame team. That wasn't a tough Notre Dame hadn't been tough since Lou Holtz was there. So don't give me that. Don't give me that.
Actually responded with toughness was Penn State.
Yeah,
Penn State was that was the only time they showed me resolve and toughness.
That was
you weren't
controlling the game though.
But the mighty Bujo kept them under 50 points in Arkansas State.
Who the hell cares about that? The point is, the one game they played where they showed any sort of toughness was the Penn State game. Period.
Well, I mean, their schedule didn't give them an opportunity.
Well, that's on that. No, I don't want to hear that. No, that's a Fugazi argument. Listen, all these teams that want to, I didn't play nobody. I didn't play anybody. Listen, this is on you. Play fucking somebody. Play somebody. I don't want to hear it. I'm tired. No. I'm not hearing that. You want to play somebody, play some. The same with Michigan. Michigan is the same problem. They played Connecticut, Colorado State, and Hawaii. I'm not hearing this.
Sean.
No.
Here's where you're off base.
I'm not off base. I'm not off base.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not.
You ready? Why you're off base?
Why am I off base?
So, Big Ten schedules 9 Big Ten games.
I don't care about that. No, I don't know. I don't care about that.
You let me finish. You let me finish because you went on your little rant. I'm going to go on my little rant.
Okay, go on your rant and then let me counteract it.
So Ohio State has 9 Big Ten games.
Great.
Okay? So there's 3 out of conference games. They're not going to play Murderers Row for all 3, but they said, "Hey, we're gonna arrange for Notre Dame to come to town." That's their marquee game.
You explain Michigan though.
I'm not going to talk about. I'm talking Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking Ohio State. Ohio State was last episode. I mean, Michigan was last episode. This is Ohio State. They played. They got Notre Dame on the schedule. Hey, I can't help that. They can't help what happened.
Notre Dame's in the Gator Bowl, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're in the Gator Bowl, Kyle. By the way, Kyle, real quick. Can you tell me what bowl games that UConn, Hawaii, and Colorado State are in?
It don't matter. Let me finish.
No, it does matter. It does matter. I mean, come on. What kind of chicken shit is that? What kind of chicken? I mean, I mean, that's chicken shit. I mean, Penn State's got Auburn. I don't even know. Gabe's on the call. Gabe, what bowl game is Auburn in?
None. I'm talking Ohio State.
Exactly. You know, so schedule a non-conference schedule is the point.
Hey, Ohio State had Notre Dame. What can they do?
They're in the Gator Bowl. That's a legitimate non-conference opponent.
Okay, so in their 9 Big Ten games, they have the Big Ten East, which means they got to play Michigan and Penn State every year. Michigan State decided to self-destruct this year. Can't help that.
You can't count Michigan State. That's a joke. Michigan State is just as good as Indiana. They're Indiana.
When they did their 3 games with the Big Ten West, they had this year Wisconsin, Iowa, and Northwestern. Now, most years, Wisconsin, Iowa.
This is a joke schedule.
Wisconsin and Iowa put up bigger fights than they did. The sad thing is Northwestern had the 12th man to win that day to help them out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke. This is a joke schedule.
It's a joke schedule.
It's absolutely a joke schedule.
But Kyle, but shouldn't
Northwestern? You putting a serious face to Northwestern? That's a joke. That's a joke.
They had Wisconsin and Iowa.
Let me talk. On talent alone, Ohio State should be Northwestern by 50.
Gabe, don't forget it was windy that day. It was windy.
The wind and the cold, my ass.
Yeah, it was windy.
I like Ohio State. I don't give a flying fuck. You should be able to run it down Northwestern's throat 100 times.
Yeah. But we only beat them by 7, 21 to 14, because it was windy. It was really windy.
Because it was cold and windy.
Yeah. I think Ohio State...
Name a day it isn't windy in Chicago, Illinois. Name one.
I know, it's never been windy in Chicago before, right?
Yeah, exactly. The soft argument, it sticks with Ohio State and Ryan Day.
No, what Kyle is saying sounds just like Tim Bailey with Oklahoma. We had our backup quarterback that day.
So amazing.
We had our backup quarterback, and
this guy.
It is what it was that day. I mean, I call it like I see it. I mean, I look at Ohio State's schedule. And like I say, most years you're looking
dog shit schedule, just like Penn State's schedule was dog shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. It turned out that way.
But Penn State can't help that Auburn was dog shit.
Yeah,
Auburn was dog shit. I mean, there are a lot of teams. The point is, you schedule somebody. You don't play. You don't play Samford. Is the point? You don't play Samford. You don't play Northwestern State. You play a schedule.
What about Marshall, New Mexico State with Notre Dame and Navy?
Marshall beat us. So what is your point? I mean, you just counterfeited yourself. SEC man on that go dumb shit.
But you guys schedule. Everyone has their dog shit opponents. That's the thing. Everyone does.
Yeah. Marshall's a good team. So what does that mean? We lost to them.
Horrible team.
No, they didn't. They just won their bowl game. You idiot! Auburn ain't going to win a bowl game. How stupid are you? Are you that stupid? Are you that stupid? I mean, I thought you worked for an actual corporation. You should be working at Advanced Auto Parts if you're that stupid.
Guys, this is entertaining as shit, and I wish I could do it
you
all
are
night.
that stupid. You are brain dead.
Dog shit.
You are that stupid.
Marshall's dog shit. They are.
No, they beat Auburn right now by 3 touchdowns. That's how stupid you are.
Goddamn shit.
You are that stupid. Hugh Freeze is going to bring us to the promised land. You know what he's going to bring you? Back to Advanced Auto Parts so you can buy an oil filter, you moron. That's how stupid you are. God bless Doug for bringing the people that lick glue for a living onto this podcast, thinking that somebody thinks that Auburn, who couldn't beat I mean, they lost at home to Penn State by 50 points. I mean, how pathetic are you? I mean, you're pathetically stupid. You're brain dead stupid.
Oh, so Marshall's all of a sudden good because they beat the mighty Notre Dame Irish by what, 4?
Who did you lose to this year, dumb fuck? Look who you lost to.
We didn't lose to goddamn Marshall, I can tell you that. We lost
it doesn't matter. Look at your record, you idiot.
I don't fucking care.
You couldn't beat a high school team that was sponsored by the School for the Blind.
We could beat we could
and suddenly you think Hugh Freeze is going to be your savior. I mean, Gus Malzahn wasn't your savior.
We beat our dog shit team, though.
You haven't been shit since Pat Dooley, or whatever his name was there in the 80s. Bo Jackson was there. He's dead. Pat died. He's dead. You haven't been shit since you bought fucking Cam Newton.
Yeah, we did.
You did, exactly, you dumb son of a bitch.
And he won a championship, too.
Good for you. Number 2. Championship number 2. Congrats to the Auburn man. He finally got championship number 2. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Poor poverty.
All right, guys.
Gabe, remember. Auburn is a poverty program. You are a poverty program. You work at Advance Auto Parts.
I do.
You are poverty.
Yeah.
And that's how you'll always be.
Good. I love it.
All right, guys, this was entertaining as shit, and the last 10 minutes, it was worth.
Oh, Gabe, one other thing. Don't forget, Notre Dame is always better than you, and so is Ohio State. So, God bless.
Well,
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
Later, guys.
Love you, boys. Bye now.
Bye.
Here's 6 things that you can do to help support this podcast. Like, share and comment on our videos. Buy our merchandise. Use our affiliate web links to buy great products and services from our affiliates. And tell others about our podcast.